With the new year nigh, there are lots of top 10 lists to review. Among those is Merriam-Webster's 10 most looked up words in its online dictionary. And the personal pronoun they came out on top. I asked Peter Sokolowski, Merriam-Webster's editor-at-large and a host at our sister station, New England Public Radio, if he was surprised that that word made it to the top of the list. Here's what he said.
I was. Absolutely, because it's a basic word. It's like a building block of the language, this kind of pronoun, it's a personal pronoun. Often the words that spike in our lookup data have to do with the news. And for example, a good example is after the Great Recession in 2008, the word of the year was bailout. Yeah. But it was the word, it was the headline, it was the word that newsmakers were using. And if you follow, like I do every day, almost every hour, the trends of lookups. So we have 100 million page views a month online at Merriam-Webster.com, plus 2 billion lookups a year on the app. So there's a lot of dictionary use that we're thrilled about and that we can follow. You can actually sometimes follow the news according to what words are being looked up. And this is a word that wasn't newsy that often, and it wasn't a word that was in the sort of headline stories, but it was a word that rose year to year 300%, so 3 times in 2019 from what it was in 2018. And I think the reason is because of this instability in its meaning. If a basic word like a pronoun suddenly has a new definition, I think a lot of people are curious about that, and they check it out in the dictionary.
Which Merriam-Webster.com did add a new version or a new definition for this word in September, right?
That's right. So that's almost a coincidence. And so what we did in this case is, with our data, we looked at the year from January to that moment to see what kind of traffic this word was getting, because after it got an enormous amount of attention, we decided to discount that part of the data. And yet, even given another word that was highly looked up this year, quid pro quo, but if we only considered the final quarter of the year to be the full data, that would have been the top word. But actually, they was, in raw numbers, much higher.
And in terms of adding a new version, a new definition of a word to the dictionary, what type of discussion goes on at Merriam-Webster? I'm sure it's a lively debate.
It isn't in a certain kind of way, because we only put a new definition or a new word into the dictionary once it's well established. So the fact is, there is no committee, there are no arguments, but there is something like, almost like a conveyor belt. Like we're watching this usage. In this case, this what we call non-binary they, we find goes back to about 2005. So it's been around for a while, but it's with all new things, it grows at its own pace. Some words come very quickly into the language, some new words come more slowly. So this one we've been watching for years, and finally decided that it was sort of in the published evidence of the word, that we had found enough of that evidence to finally add it to the dictionary. Basically, the only criterion that really matters is evidence. So we want to see lots of people and lots of publications using this word for a long period of time.
You said something on your Twitter feed that I want to read here, and you said that most English speakers accept the fact that the language changes over time, but don't accept the changes made in their own time. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's a very important point. I think that language is a habit. And it's a habit that we acquire as children, of course, that as we grow, especially, if we're native speakers growing up in a home, in a household that speaks English. And so the habits become our accent, our idiolect, the particular words that we use day to day. And anything that's new or novel will strike us as being incorrect, as being wrong. But think about how sort of subtle some of these changes are. For example, the new definitions or newer definitions of words like mouse and lurk and browse and cookie. We have no problems with those. Yeah. But there are other examples of language change. For example, about 25 years ago in graduate school, I used the word access as a verb, to access something. At that time, it was corrected, and the editor wrote on the margin, computer jargon. This is jargon. You can't use access as a verb. You have to say to have access or to gain access. You can't say to access something. Today, we say access as a verb 5 times a day for all of us. Right. So the fact is, a familiarity is the key. That frequency of usage is what makes it comfortable for all of us. So in this case, as with every other new word or new usage, we need to hear it frequently before we accept it, before it becomes completely acceptable.
When you do make a change and you add something to the dictionary, do you get pushback from the public ever?
Sure. I don't pay much attention to all of that. The process is so, in a sense, so mechanical. We have 3 or 4 releases of new words every year because we work all day, every day on writing definitions. Without revision, a dictionary dies. We have to maintain the currency of the dictionary. So we're busy at work with that. I don't pay too much attention to the responses. Many people feel validated and they think, oh, this is terrific. I've always used this word, or I love this. I love seeing this word. Some people object to these changes and they're sticklers and they think, well, my English teacher would have said this was wrong. And that's okay too. The fact is, if you have strong opinions about language, that means you care. And I think that the thing about English is that it's always growing. And it's very elastic. It's always changing. And I think we have to kind of step back and look at language as an organic thing, that languages certainly do follow rules, but they don't follow orders.
I appreciate that you say that it is elastic because I feel as though my 7th grade English teacher would quibble with that and
Oh,
just
sure.
sort of
And
sitting
it's
there.
typically, and it's often people I do meet who are, say, teachers who go by the rules. And often there are rules that are imposed on the language that aren't organic to the language. And a good example is what people call the split infinitive,
Right.
To boldly go where no man. And in point of fact, nobody ever complained or even noticed that that was a thing until a couple hundred years ago. But the language is 1,000 years old. In other words, it had always been part of the language, and someone decided for stylistic reasons it was preferable not to do that. And that's a perfectly reasonable stylistic choice, but doesn't mean that it's not organic to the language. And from our perspective, as descriptive linguists, we describe the language that we see. It is grammatical.
Let's look at some of the others.
Sure.
The words in review kind of remind me of a year in review of the news almost, and we saw at least for the 3 or 4 of the words on the list really attached to some of the political news. Impeach, quid pro quo, exculpate, and snitty.
Snitty, yeah.
And snitty really jumped out for me because when I looked at that word as it was coming up, I'm thinking about how the synonyms are not nearly as interesting as the use of the word itself. Snitty, when you say it, you sort of get what the definition is. But remind us the context for that one, why it popped up.
Yeah, that was used by, I believe, the Attorney General Barr in response to Robert Mueller's reaction to Barr's summary of Mueller's report. So the Mueller report was very long, Barr's summary was very short, and in many ways didn't give credit to all of the ideas in that report. And so Robert Mueller objected to trying to reduce this complex argument into a very simple memo, basically. And then the Attorney General said he was being snitty. And it's a kind of word, because it's such an informal word, I think a lot of people go to the dictionary just to check it out. Is that really in the dictionary? Is that really a word?
Is that actually a word? Right.
And of course it's a word. If we say it, it's a word. But it turns out it is in the dictionary.
Made the list this year too. Interesting in terms of the way it was used, because I think that the way it would be pronounced in this context would be the Ohio State University. And that jumped out to me because emphasis is very important there, right?
Yeah, and it's with our articles, the definite and indefinite articles, so the and the, and a, and the pronunciation has to do with emphasis. It also has to do with phonetics, because if you say a word that begins with a vowel, the vowel, you'll use the quite normally. Often you will say the if you say the initial vowel, because the first letter of the next word is a vowel. So pronunciation can have to do with phonetics or emphasis in this case. But what's interesting is that it was a legal case that the Ohio State University tried to take a patent out on the word the or the, which is kind of extraordinary and sort of ridiculous in the same way, because they identify themselves officially as the Ohio State University, and I think and they make some play with that with their sweatshirts and their logos.
Even the way the teammates say the name
yes,
sometimes.
and they were denied that request. But it is an interesting point that words and trademarks, when they become very common, in the other direction, a word like escalator or dumpster or Jeep or Q-tip, we put them in the dictionary, but we have to label them as trademarks, because only the trademark holder can actually define what they mean. The dictionary can say used for a cotton swab or used for a paper tissue for Kleenex. We identify that it's a common generic word, but we can't define that word legally because only the owner of the copyright can. It's an interesting little corner of
Google has become
Yes.
shorthand for searching up something on the internet.
And exactly, and that's a good point, because in that case, it's a verb to Google something, and that's okay, because the owner of the copyright only owns the label, the name, the noun.
Yeah.
And so Xerox and Google, they're fine.